Hi there, I'm Bithorse and welcome back to another video about Sorare. Today I'm going to talk about the tips that what I've learned over the last month of basically everything I've done wrong that hopefully you won't have gone that far yet, and then hopefully I can stop you doing those errors from my experience. So basically let's get straight into the video. So tip 1 would be to play the Common League. I would start with the Common League before doing anything else. It's free. And if you do sign up with my link, you will get so you get 12 cards, okay, to start with the Common. But by doing that, if you go to the Limited then and you bought another 5, I believe, from the new auction, and you bought 5 on bid, then you get another card, which is usually on average, depends what you spend, about worth about £8. So it's always worth doing that way anyway. But anyway, let's go back to the casuals. Okay, so you'll get a team and you just put a team together, and how you do it, like you see that you click on it, and this is from me playing for a month, so I've got quite a few keepers. Then you put a defender, whoever you think will do well. NG means no game in this game week, and this is on the Tuesday, okay? So we'll just pop a team together here. And then when you're ready, you click captain, and then you click confirm. But I would suggest you do that for a couple of weeks, just to get you the gist around how the scoring mechanism works. Let's show you this current game week, because I'm not doing too great, but like he's got a 0. Basically, he never started, but he's got a 70. Big Leo. It just breaks it right down. So his all-around score was 34, and what he did well and what he did bad. He's turned out, I had him 2 weeks ago, he's turned out to be a really, really nice card, who unfortunately in any other edition is quite expensive. But yeah, have a gander, so then you don't spend any money. And then yeah, you can move on once you feel a bit more comfortable. You can either, maybe it's not for you, or you can obviously move on and progress through limited, rares, super rares, etc. Tip 2 would be, in my opinion, again, different people have different budgets, okay? If you haven't got a big budget like I don't, then you cannot buy players, top name players that you know, okay? So let's just pick Haaland, for example, okay? So we all know Haaland, okay? He hasn't played the last 4 or 5 because he's been injured. But if we went for the lowest price, his limited still £2,000. Now, do you have £2,000 to spend on one player? If you do, then there you go. Yes, he has utility for a while. But if you don't, you're going to have to use some research, okay? And we'll get on to the next point after that. That's research. But you have to really have a look around, and you could find players that are just as good as Haaland, or okay, not as good, but like, so I picked up this guy, okay, when I started, Jelvossens. He's done pretty well for me, consistently hitting around 50s to 60s, scores in near enough every game. He's got decisive there, which is a goal. He had a little injury, so he missed a few games. It's picking up these little gems, finding them. That's what I enjoy about this game anyway, is finding the undervalued cards that no one else has found that then score pretty high. Tip 3 would be research. So this is a very, very big tip, and each individual has different ways of researching, okay? But the main tip here would be, before committing on Jelvossen, you would have at least done some research, okay? You haven't just gone, okay, he looks pretty cool. His SO5, he scored 66 there. I think I'll buy him. You got to do a bit more research on that, or from my experience, you will be burnt, or it will be hard to get rid of players. So I went to a rush into picking some rares up, and I wanted to hit some thresholds. and you need a minimum of 205 to get the threshold. Now, I don't know if I can show you, but I picked up. This was my first attempt at the threshold, and I just missed it, 184. But I picked him up just because of threshold. But he's actually in relegation battle. He's in relegation battle, and he was coming back from an injury. He came on just after a penalty was awarded for them, but he didn't come on to take the penalty, which he normally would. So then if he came on and took the penalty, he would have had 60 minimum from scoring, or missing would have been worse, but ended up having 21. So I sold him straight away. And now this week he missed a game because he had 5 yellow cards, and now his price has dropped even further. But I only got these because they hit the minimum threshold. Now, my tip for you would be just to make sure that you're quite happy with the players you get, and you're not just getting for the sake of it, because it sounds good and all that, and there's great videos out there suggesting how to do this. But in my opinion, you're then stuck with a player, and you may have to undercut the market to get rid of him, and you may take a loss on that. And that's not something you want to do, especially starting off. Maybe down the line you can make little mistakes, but as a starter, I wouldn't advise that, okay? So just try and do some research and make sure you're content with those players, okay? So how do you do the research? So what I would do, I'd firstly go over to Sorare data. Now, Sorare data is so vital to play in Sorare. It's not a part of the company. Some have made it. Some team have made it off their own back. But Sorare data it's got so many options, and I will show you them now. Firstly, so if you wanted to check a player out, you could type his name straight in here, okay? So we'll stick with Haaland, okay? If I can spell correctly, there we are. And what you would do, click on the SO5 scores, and you can see his scoring in the last 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, year, all time, okay? Make a decision of that, okay? So that's a good starting point, and you can find out further. So why has he missed these games, okay? Okay, so to find out how and why he's missed these games, okay? So I don't know, most of you must know he's injured. He's had a serious injury. We don't know what, okay? So what we'll do, we'll go over to transfer. I can't even speak. We'll go over to transfer marked. I'll link these below, okay? So that I find them really handy, okay? Always go to this site, okay? So we'll type Haaland, and then we're going to have a look at why he is injured or missed the last few games. So we'll go into details, and by clicking details, it comes up with why he's missed these games. So fitness, muscular problems, hip flexor. So he's missed quite a few because of that. So that then will give you an insight to, okay, maybe we'll find out when he'll be back. So if you click the club and scroll down, it normally says when he's coming back, but return unknown because it's his fitness. But normally it says, there you go, see, hamstring injury, return expected 7th of March. So those are the real 2 that I would choose to start with. But there are other ways to scout on Sorare data. So I would go to Scout Player Finder, okay? There are multiple ways of searching on this. So what I would do, you could say, we'll go for Defender first, okay? There's loads of videos, in-depth videos, especially from Sorare in a budget, who goes about doing this. But I'll just skim over it quickly, okay? So we don't want any injuries. We want Global All-Star, Europe, and Challenger Europe. I tend to move that down to about 37. I also want them in the game week. And then with this, it's up to you. It really is up to you. So most people change these because you want to see them start in the last few games, which you can do. But it narrows down the market, in my opinion. And from what I've seen, if you want them starting at least was that 3 of the last 5 games. Maybe they've played 2, but one of them they were either suspended by having 5 yellow cards, or missing because of a bruised hip. That's what I've had the other day. So to avoid that, I keep that at 0, 0 to 100. Okay, I knock these up to the max because we don't want to limit how much score they get. We want at least a minimum score, and then we do the same here. So we'll go to limiteds or rares or whatever you're looking for. Okay, and we change this accordingly. So with limited to be slightly less, so we'll half that, and we'll see what we get. There, 340. There we go. Okay, so now, yes, it's brought up a lot, and yes, it hasn't narrowed it down. But and also I understand this is a slower method of doing it. But in my opinion, it brings up all those ones that have those skewed last 5 that might have a bruised hip, but also are perfectly fine. But you would not have picked it up. So what I do, okay, I then say I'm going for a defender and I've got a budget. I want a defender under about £100, say for example, or if we're in a lower budget, under about 20 quid. So we have a look for a defender under £20, and that's about it. And then say we go for him. Okay, plays for Salt Lake. He's in my price zone. Okay, he's come back. Just started back. I know he hasn't started yet. Okay, but he's hit those last 4. Okay, right. I will then copy him into Google. Okay, I check the latest news. If there's anything blaringly obvious, it normally comes out there. Okay, then I go. It's always that one. We go to transfer market to see if it's any injuries, is anything wrong with him, and also an important one is also check his. Oh, bugger off. So check his contract expiry. Now that's December 2022, which is this year, and he's 31. We don't know where he's going to be next, so that's a dodgy one to get, really, in my opinion, unless you sell him by September, I guess. Give it a few months. It's just you'd want that to be 23 at least to guarantee him another year. But when you feel like you go and look at his stats, has he got an injury? Has anything wrong with him? I then go over to SofaScore. This is a timely process, okay? And when I started, I didn't want to do half the stuff. I thought, oh no, I won't do it. Give you 2-3 weeks in, I was obsessed, okay? You want to find these little gems. So what we do, we'll copy him. This is what I do, and paste him into there, okay? That's him. In place for Real Salt Lake. There we go. Okay. So what you can find on SofaScore if you've never used it before, it uses stats from what I found out from Who Scored. If you've ever heard of Who Scored. Now you can find everything about this. So we can see. Let's try and find. So they were the playoffs. Let's go to the Major League. Here we go. They played 34 games. Well, he played 23 and started 23 games. And you can see the heat map of how he played. And then how he played in each game. Now, I'll probably go into depth with this in another video. But you can see stats that are interesting to you. So we've looked at defender, okay? So we're going to focus on defender stats. We're going to see how many clean sheets he's got. Okay, that's team-based. But we're going to go for any decisives or any average scores built up of different stuff, okay? So if we go to his little thing here, and his all-round score is here. So we go defensive. They're built up with different scoring. So goals conceded, he gets a -4 for 2 goals conceded. Effective clearance, he did 2, so he gets a point. He won a tackle, so he gets 3 points. So I focus on them because he's done 1 tackle and he gets 3 points. And he's got a block. But also there's possession lost, possession won. Interceptions is another good one. So that gives you 3 points per 1 interception. So what we will do, we look at this, and it tells you, it literally tells you it, and this is what I look at. And you can find some gems that are very undervalued from finding little things like these. Yes, it takes time, but you know, you could win some big prizes from doing this. So his tackles per game on average is 1.2. Now, we said a tackle gets you 3 points. So on average, he's going to get at least 3 points for his all-round score. We want that as high as we can, because at least if he doesn't get a decisive, which obviously clearance is decisive, a goal, assist are decisives. But if he doesn't get decisive, he's at least bumping his all-round score up. Also, an interception, he gets 1.5 on average per game. Chances per game, or clearances, sorry, another one. So, yes, this is such a useful tool, SofaScore. Really, really, really rate that. There's also different ones you can use, like FootMob even, which normally tell you whether or not they've got an injury. So if you typed his name again, at the top there, it normally tell you at the very top if he's got an injury. Not, in my opinion, as good as SofaScore, but again, you can't get enough stats. My tip 4 would be, when you deposit, from what I've learned, make sure you make one deposit. Okay, so when I started, I deposited about £50 here, £50 there, £50 there. Now every time you deposit, one, you will get gas fees. Now there's videos online explain what gas fees are. They're just because it converts it into ETH. ETH is generated or made by people who run computers, and then they need gas fees to pay for electric and whatever it costs to make the actual ETH, the currency, okay? Cryptocurrency. So I personally would go, okay, I want to make a limited team, right? So you go, I'm going to make a limited team. But without actually paying, you want to make a limited team. You try and work out, okay, maybe I want to make 3 limited teams, right? I'm going to enter into All-Star, Under 23, and maybe Champion Europe. Now, in my opinion, you should then tally it up, try and work out how much it would cost to get that, then total that up and deposit the max amount, okay? Or, how I'm doing it currently, just rectified it, but what I would do if I was starting again, I would deposit £500 to £600 if you've got that budget. If you've got more, even better, but that's a minimum to do what I'm going to do next, okay? You'd make a team. Now you can get these. I've got all these and another one for, I think I tallied it up to be just under 600, roughly 580 I think it was, which is decent. They're not too old. They score pretty well. And then you use a common keeper. By doing this, you could then hit a threshold. Currently in Sorare, there are thresholds, okay? I'll show you the prizes now. And this is what I'm going for, okay? So you can try and compete for the top, and that's all, lovely. We would really want to hit them. But the likelihood is, if we can make a team for £600 and then hit a minimum of 205 or 250, you will get that in return. As it stands, 0.02 ETH is 39 quid. Now, if you're doing that every week, you could be getting most of your income or your deposit back, which then, in my opinion, what I'm going to do is keep it up top into the wallet and then transfer it over to Coinbase, where I will take it out. And once I've taken my income my initial deposit out, I will then use the rest of the money to create a better team. But as it stands, I'm looking for the threshold to start with. So if I was starting again, I would definitely look at depositing once, making a threshold yielding team, and then moving on from there. Then you can go down to the limiteds and the rares and whatever else. Another tip is just to get used to, this isn't a side tip, this is still in the same one. Get used to ETH, because ETH fluctuates a lot, okay? So if you wanted to make a deposit, make the deposit and make the purchases that day, okay? Don't make the deposit and then leave it for a week and think, I'll come back next week. Because if you deposited £500, by next week it may have gone down to 400, or it may have gone up to 600. But that's the risk you play with cryptocurrency. Another tip, if you were starting off, I'll show you now because I actually have one myself, is invest in players. If you have a little bit extra cash, invest in players that haven't started this season yet, okay? So I picked up some Brazilians. So I think he's the same, but he's actually out because he had a heart transplant or some heart surgery. But I picked this guy. So Brazil season doesn't start till April, I believe. So I picked him up in January for £4.58. Okay, so we check his current price. It isn't a great deal more, but we're coming closer to the season starting. And now he's at £6.51. Like I said, not a great deal more. He hasn't started. The last 5 he didn't start, so I didn't expect much. But that just proves if you invest 2 to 3 months earlier than the game week, the league's going to start, those prices would then increase. As long as you don't need that money, you can make a decent flip, a decent amount of money on the side of earning threshold money. So you could make a great pot of money here to make a challenging team by the end. So now we're in, end of February, almost March, okay? What you can do at the end of the European is wait till about June, April, May maybe, and start buying European players again. They will still be the cheapest they'll probably be, and then they will start to increase near September time. So then you can sell off if you don't need them and make extra income. That would be my tip anyway. So I bought this guy, say Idris Dumbia. Okay, he's actually on loan from I think Sporting Lisbon. I bought him for £4.11, and he's suddenly got a nice run of form going, and his price is starting to creep up nicely. It's gone to £10 now. Again, these are long hauls. He's 23. He's on loan, so he's obviously wanting to go. Want to fight to get into the Sporting Lisbon team. So these are just long holds. Again, if you have extra income, you want to invest it, I would look at that anyway. Another one of my tips, this is going to be tip 6, I believe, is join Sorare Academy. Now, Sorare Academy, I should have mentioned this at the start, but this goes along with the Common League. Sorare Academy is free. It works alongside Sorare, and you can pick any 5 in the world. And mine clearly did shit. Oh, sorry. Didn't do so well. Okay. So what you do, like it says here, so the top 10 managers each week receive a limited Sorare card. You can pick whoever you want, who you think would do great that game week. So you don't need to pay. You just need to pick 5 players that you believe would do well that game week. Then they get scored, like I showed here. And out of my team, Dumbia did absolutely amazing. Scored 2 goals. But these are top 10. And they'll all receive a limited card. Now, it may not be the best limited card, but again, this is free. It'll turn it into money because limited cards, at least, you make probably £10 something. So it's always worth doing. And my final tip number 7, is just to have fun. Have fun with this platform. It's here. You're interested, obviously, because it's football based. But always remember, it is real money. And you may lose real money, but you will gain real money. It comes and goes, okay? But remember, just have fun. Don't go spending stuff that you don't have, okay? There's a lot of people. I watched a great video earlier from Sorare Butchered Lions. He does really, really good content, but his is a unique market. He spent 1,200 on a player, and he's got 41 rares. He's got a larger budget than what we do or what I do. I'm not going to spend 1,400 on a player. I don't have that budget. I spent 200 on a player. That's what I've done. That's a forward because it's most expensive, but it's each to their own. And this is why I'm trying to make content that is more relatable to people who are just starting off. So hopefully this has been of some use to you. There's a lot of tips there. I will go into depth with the research in another video, but my name is Bithorse. Like I said, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, share away. Check my Twitter out. It's Bithorse. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Ciao.